Incluant-il?
B 1391.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that on the 4th of October this year, the manager of a child daycare center located at Beauchamp reported an incident which occurred on the eve, that is the 3rd of October, whereby a caregiver fell unconscious whilst carrying a 7-month-old baby in her arms. Both the baby and the caregiver were transported by the management of the daycare center to Bruno Chung Hospital for treatment. On the same day, officers of my ministry provided psychological support to the family. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that the matter has been referred to the police and the inquiry is still ongoing.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is one case too many. Would the Minister inform the House what actions will be taken to ensure that security and welfare of babies are enforced?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would kindly refer the honourable member to the statement I made in Parliament regarding this very issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the light of all the recent concern that was raised, it is essential to underscore and to highlight that there are particular provisions under Section 34, in fact, of the Children's Act of 2020, which mandates the reporting of a child in danger. The Act, Mr. Speaker, sir, unambiguously stipulates that anybody who is witnessing a child or believe that there are reasonable grounds to believe that a child is exposed to harm, it is of paramount importance that this is reported. When it comes to what is being done, my ministry, Mr. Speaker, sir, has been taking unflinching, sustained steps to ensure that child daycare centres operate, first of all, within the ambit of the law, and it remains a challenge to ascertain, unfortunately, the number of illegal child daycare centres that are in operation. As a matter of fact, there has been a very solid team that has been put together with the officers of my ministry, with the help of the Office of the Commissioner of Police, to track, in fact, those illegal daycare centres. So there is a multi-pronged approach to resolve the issues of illegal operations and hereby ensuring the safety of our children in child daycare centres. There's also, Mr. Speaker, sir, the question of the grant in aid facility that is provided by the Ministry of Finance to upgrade child daycare centres to the right standard. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, everything is being done so that we can ensure our children are placed in appropriate and regulated, up to the standard child daycare centres. I would urge, once again, like I did in my statement in Parliament the other day, I would urge all the parents to enrol their children. It is not just about adhering to the regulations or adhering to the law, legislation. It is of paramount importance to ensure the child's safety. It is the prime duty of the primary caregiver, who happen to be the parents.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Failing to plan is planning to fail. You have failed, Honourable Minister.
Please, I stop you there and I disallow this question. Next question.
B 1392.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to refer the honourable member to my reply to PQB 1114 at our sitting of 15th November 2022 on the same subject. Gun River Northwest and Port Louis West are located in the Central Water Authority water supply zone of Port Louis. Mr. Speaker, sir, in my previous reply, I had indicated that since 2015, the regions of Richelieu, Pointe-aux-Sables, La Tour-Quénic, part of Grand River Northwest, Résidence Valégy, Plaine-Lausanne, and Cassis are supplied with potable water on a 24-hour basis following the commissioning of rapid gravity filters at the Pai water treatment plant compared to 18-hour daily previously. I had also outlined that between 2017 and 2020, the Central Water Authority had renewed some 4.7 kilometers of old and defective pipelines at a cost of around 22.1 million rupees. These concern, one, the renewal of service mains along Floribunda Street, Marcel Cabon Street, Lady Seaton Lane, Royal Highness Avenue, and Stella Street at Débarcadère Pointe-aux-Sables. Two, renewal of service mains along Arness Street, Normal Artnell Street, Lady Seaton Lane, Piccadilly Lane, Apricot Silk Street, Papa Mayor Street, and Dr. Boujard Street at Débarcadère Pointe-aux-Sables. Pipe laying works near SLDC housing units at Pointe-aux-Sables. 4. Pipe laying works at Kensington Petit Verger Pointe-aux-Sables. 5. Renewal of service mains along Du Maurier Street in Grande Rivière Nord-Ouest. 6. Renewal of service mains at Canfiringa in Pointe-aux-Sables and ancillary works. And 7. Renewal of service mains at Canfiringa in Pointe-aux-Sables and ancillary works. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Central Water Authority has identified an additional 11 kilometers of old and defective pipes to be renewed as priority in the regions of 1. Pai Road, 2. Meadow Lane, Kibis Branch Road, Cité Jonction and Sona Lane, Pai. From Main Bridge Road to Canal d'Ayo, Sable Noir, Royal Road, James Mercier and Monte Hussard in Grande Rivière Nord-Ouest. 4th, Cité Zillois, Azali, Sunny Hill, Novembrier, Flamboyant Lane, Cresserelle Avenue, Caille Avenue, Perdrix Avenue, Héron Street, Mouette Avenue, Merle Street, Perruche Avenue, Hirondelle Street, Bessac Avenue, Ibou Avenue, Moineau Avenue, Morcellement Garberen Phase 1, Aldrin Lane, Pacrette Street, Ariane Street, Impasse Pic-Pic, Multipliant Street and Dauphin Street in Pointe-aux-Sables, and Belzamine and Résidence La Tour-Kénic in Terrazzo. These projects are expected to be implemented in calendar years 2023-2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government has provided funds to the tune of 900 million in budget 2023-2024 for the Central Water Authority to carry out national pipe replacement programs in all the 6 water supply zones on a priority basis. The Central Water Authority will undertake these works in-house through small and medium contractors and through large contractors. The projects are ongoing. I am informed that an additional 440 meters of pipes have already been laid between February to January 2023 at Flamboyant Street, Pointe-aux-Sables, and Pai Cité Jonction. Works are planned between July to December 2023 at Albion, Petite Rivière, Gros Caillou, La Tour-Kénic, and Ward 4 in Port-Louis. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Mr. Speaker, in a similar PQ interview to 2016, the then minister mentioned that there was an urgency to replace pipe from Pierrefonds Funnel to New Bosquet Reservoir. That was 12 kilometers of pipe. Can the minister confirm whether this piping has been done?
Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, sir, I do not have that specific information right now with me, but I can tender same to the honourable member at a later stage. Because I've mentioned a lot of streets, and I don't think the street you have mentioned is in the list, but I need to check.
Okay. The minister again in 2022 mentioned that there was a program, a replacement program for calendar 2023-2024. Can he table a copy of the program that he mentioned?
Yes, of course, Mr. Speaker, so I can do so.
I will ask question, Mr. Speaker, if I may.
Next question, MP Omir.
B1393.
Mr. Speaker, sir, substantial progress in child survival has been made since 2019. The total number of neonatal deaths was 181 in 2005, 168 in 2006, 176 in 2007, 143 in 2008, and 135 in 2009. In January 2015, the NICU of, that is a neonatal ICU of Nehru Hospital became functional with 4 NICU beds capacity. NICU of Bruno Chong Hospital, Flak Hospital opened in 2017, thanks to my colleague, Honorable Anwar Osno. And in 2018, the NICU of G2 Hospital was inaugurated. The old NICU of Victoria Hospital was closed and a new NICU was opened in 2021. Thus, before 2014, the total number of NICU beds was 10. And now there are 28 neonatal ICU beds for the whole island, with 4 additional NICU beds that can be made available in the new second NICU at G2 Hospital, which was used during the temporary closure of NICU of SSR and hospital. The House may wish to note that the global SDG target for neonatal mortality rate is 12 per 1,000 live births, whereas in Mauritius it was 8.9 in 2022, so well below the required standard. In comparison to previous years, before the opening of 3 additional NICUs, the number of neonatal deaths is constantly declining. And 2016, it was the lowest, that is of that is a total of 94. I'm informed that since January 2023 to date, a total of 80 neonatal deaths have been reported. I wish to point out, if I will compare it again to 2007, where the neonatal death was 176, why I'm comparing this? Because Honorable Member, in a gathering at Plainville, stated that 80 neonatal deaths that will require a commission d'enquête. So I have to point out that in fact the commission d'enquête was supposed, it was due in 2007 when there was that number of neonatal deaths. Because at that time he was a public servant and he was a gynecologist working in the public sector, and we know very well in 2008 he retired from the service. So the main causes of death are as follows: extreme prematurity, cardiorespiratory insufficiency, multiple congenital anomalies, septicemia and multiple organ failures due to infections comprising of serratia, and high-risk pregnancies, antenatal causes such as infertility undergone IVF, pregnancy-induced hypertension, which can lead to eclampsia and HELP syndrome, antepartum hemorrhage secondary to placenta previa or abrasio placenta, gestational diabetes, no antenatal follow-up, active substance abusers, including smoking and alcohol consumption, sexually transmitted disease such as syphilis, HIV, hepatitis B and C, rhesus incompatibility, advanced maternal age above 35, and history of recurrent miscarriage. Mr. Speaker, as regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that among the 80 neonatal deaths, 9 babies had blood cultures with serratia, and they passed away due to septicemia, multiple organ failures, and extreme prematurity. It is worth highlighting that the outbreak of serratia, which is a multi-resistant bacterium, occurs in neonatal ICUs across all countries, research have shown that the salient abuse of antibiotics is mostly likely the underlying driver of these outbreaks. However, wish to inform the House that antibiotic stewardship guidelines are being implemented in all ICUs of NICUs of regional hospitals with a view of preventing occurrence of nosocomial infection.
Thank you, Speaker. The Honourable Minister will recall surely his presence at the Coda Arts Centre on the 12th of April 2023, where there was a presentation on the causes of death of neonatal babies presented by Assistant Professor Arvind Bandhu, where it was highlighted.
No, excuse me.
My question is coming.
May I?
Yeah, sure.
You don't mind? I am the speaker. You are the listener. You know, supplementary question is not like putting a case where you're looking for evidence and all this. If ever you heard something which you want, on which you want to have further information, elucidation, you ask a question, a specific question. This is the purpose of supplementary question. And the number of supplementary questions depends upon the speaker. Even to allow you to put one supplementary question, it depends upon the speaker. So I have given you the permission to put one supplementary question. Let me listen to your supplementary question.
Noted.
No question. Next.
No, I said noted. Please, I'm listening to you. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House why at April 2023 he was made aware of the presence of serratia and causing death in neonatal babies? He did not, and I repeat, he did not close the neonatal ICU SSRN until 9 babies died in August.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I will not use my high voice to answer to this question.
Use your...
This, Mr. Speaker...
What's happening to this mic there is... there's something wrong with the mic there. Oh, have you become the loudspeaker?
Mr. Speaker, sir, seriously, now, this is the objective of this workshop conducted by Arvind Bandhu, who is a Mauritian national now established in Connecticut, UK, whom the Ministry of Health has invited because we have to keep improving our services. And that's what the result, which is started by Honorable Dr. Dr. Snu, and Dr. Snu started a process, and he is, Dr. Arvind Bandhu, is a neonatologist. He has to come and guide us what to do. The Minister of Health doesn't go and open or close NICUs. In the NICUs, they are supervised by a consultant in charge, pediatrics. This consultant in charge of pediatrics has to abide to the infection prevention control of the ministry, where there is one dedicated person, which was never there. In 2005 to 2008, when there were so many deaths, and we don't know what were even the bacteria who has caused these deaths. Now, there are reported cases, protocol established, guideline established. We agree. And once the Professor Dr. Arvind Bandhu came, and he is the one who gave us the advice, what we have to do, and we abide to what Dr. Arvind Bandhu said. This is how we should proceed. It is not the minister who is going to open or close an ICU. This is not the job of the minister. This is the job of the consultant in charge, of the director of the hospital, of the NIPC, of the pathologist, to guide the ministry. And once the doctor has said that the ICU has to be closed and then open after doing so and so, that's what has been done. And in fact, we are very much thankful to Dr. Arvind Bandhu, who is an international consultant for us, giving us on a daily basis guidance how to treat neonatal babies.
Thank you. 9 neonatal babies died of Marses and Seratia, as you just mentioned yourself. But very unfortunately, you chose
You continue
yeah, the question?
along the same path.
No, the question,
So
the
it
question
depends.
is,
Honorable member, mind well. The speaker that allowed the question. You have no right. If I don't give you the floor for a supplementary question, you have no right. Mind well. Try to understand this. The second time I'm warning you, put a specific question to enlighten whatever you want, any enlightenment from the minister. Please, go ahead.
okay, I just can. Can I ask the Honorable Minister?
That's it, yeah. Good.
Yeah, I start. Can I ask the Honorable Minister why he chose not to disclose the cause of death of 9 neonatal babies with Seratia and Marses and put the blame on elderly mothers, no follow-up, and medical disorders in pregnancy?
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you, Honourable Member, to address me this question. Mr. Speaker, sir, the cause of death, the death certificate, is it written by the Minister of Health? In which country is it done? Is a Minister of Health that certifies the cause of death? Because the Honourable is saying that he has chosen the cause of death. On daily basis, is being filled up, the certificate for death is being filled up by the doctors attending the patient. Am I the doctor attending those 9 babies? Am I responsible that am I a gynecologist who certify that they are elderly members? The cause...
Be polite, doctor.
I will reply to you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Is that my job? This is not my job. This is the job of the doctors treating the babies who has to certify the cause of death. And if this honourable member has a problem with the cause of death, he has to report it to the medical council because he is registered as a medical practitioner. And as per the code of practice, if you have found something, your colleague has done illegally, this is the procedure, not here in Parliament as an MP, as a honourable member. You are coming to voice out your frustration. Now, secondly, he said that I have been practicing as gynecologist. I am a qualified medical practitioner. I have worked in gynecology. I have as a medical and health officer for years. I have been assisting deliveries. I have been, working under consultants in charge who are his colleagues. They have given me reports that I have been a good medical and health officer. And he's the one who's going to tell me that I am practicing as a gynecologist. And now, as a medical practitioner, whatever he has been doing wrong by any of his colleagues, as per the code of practice, you have to report it to the medical council. There is an authority to deal with such complaint, and failing not to do so, he has, as a medical practitioner, registered medical practitioner, failed in his duties to report his conduct.
B1394.
Mr. Speaker, sir, shall reply to this question. The water tank grant scheme has as main objective to support low-income families to avail of a water tank and a domestic water pump so as to provide them with adequate water storage during periods of disruption in water supply. Initially, families with a monthly household income of 10,000 rupees were eligible for a grant of 3,000 rupees to purchase a water tank. Since 2015, this grant has steadily increased to 5,000 and subsequently to 8,000 in 2019-2020. The income ceiling for eligibility has also increased to 25,000 rupees in 2017-2018 to 50,000 rupees in 2019-2020. In the last budget, 2033-2024, government has increased the grant from 8,000 rupees to 15,000 rupees and extended it to households with a monthly income of less than 60,000 rupees. This grant now covers the purchase of a water tank of 1,000 liters, essential fittings for an amount of 1,000 rupees, and a domestic water pump of a value of 4,000 rupees. Mr. Speaker, sir, the water tank grant scheme is currently being managed by the Development Bank of Mauritius. Applications can be made online through the DBM website at all DBM branches across Mauritius, through the Citizen Advice Bureau, and during outreach programs organized by my ministry in collaboration with the Development Bank of Mauritius and the Central Water Authority, especially in the water-stressed regions. Mr. Speaker, sir, following a request made during the visit of the Honorable Prime Minister to Rodrigues from 10 to 13 October 2023, government has decided that the water tank grant scheme be extended to beneficiaries in Rodrigues. The modalities and conditions of the scheme to cater for the requirements and specificities of the water sector in Rodrigues are being worked out currently in collaboration with stakeholders concerned. This decision, Mr. Speaker, sir, is yet another testimony of the support of the central government to alleviate the hardships of our fellow Rodriguans and build a more resilient water sector in Rodrigues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
No supplementary. Next question.
B1395.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that the Mauritius Handball Association submitted a report dated 25th September 2023 to my ministry regarding the alleged incident that occurred on 2nd September in Madagascar during the Indian Ocean Islands Games. I'm further informed that officers of our ministry met with both the president of the Mauritius Handball Association and Mr. G.J. on 30th September and on 3rd October 2023, respectively, to hear their respective versions of the alleged incident. I'm informed that the Mauritius Handball Association held a meeting with Mr. G.J. on 17 October 2023 and will have another meeting with the players involved. My ministry will continue to follow up with the Mauritius Handball Association regarding the development thereon. Thank you.
Monsieur le Président, suivant la réponse de l'honorable ministre, peut-il nous dire si lui-même ou le chef de mission du Club Maurice furent informés de ces incidents à Madagascar, comme le stipule le Code of Ethics, et si oui, pourquoi à ce moment précis, parce que le cas a été dénoncé par le head coach de l'équipe féminine de handball, peut-on savoir pourquoi aucune action n'a été prise suivant la dénonciation faite par le head coach de l'équipe de handball féminine.
Monsieur le Président, en pleine compétition, les officiers de mon ministère ont pris note du problème et évidemment, ce n'est pas en terre étrangère que nous allons régler nos problèmes. Et c'est pour cela qu'au retour, comme je l'ai dit, donc dès le retour de la délégation qui s'est faite en 3 parties, donc le président de la fédération a pris ses responsabilités et a rencontré les personnes concernées. Et comme je l'ai dit, donc le 25 septembre, un rapport a été soumis à mon ministère.
Monsieur le Président, je suis au courant aussi que toute cette question a été soulevée lors de la dernière rencontre du Steering Committee of Team Mauritius le 26 septembre dernier, que le ministre lui-même a d'ailleurs présidé. Peut-il nous dire de ce fait sur quelle base, et je me réfère à ce qui est écrit dans le rapport à la page 9, paragraphe 5.2. Je vais être bref. The committee proposed that the ministry would not intervene in the internal matters of the Mauritius Handball Federation. Doit-on déduire que cette affaire est considérée à la légère par le ministère et doit-on s'attendre à ce qu'il y ait vraiment un dénouement des actions qui soient prises, parce que cela, Monsieur le Président, implique une mineure.
Monsieur le Président, comme le rapport le dit, ce sont les affaires internes de la fédération. Et la fédération, le président et les autres membres ont déjà rencontré les différents protagonistes. Et bien sûr, nous respectons la liberté, l'indépendance, l'autonomie des fédérations. Sinon, on va nous dire que nous sommes en train d'ingérer dans les affaires internes d'une fédération. Toutefois, comme je l'ai dit, maintenant, ça fait plus de 6 ans, il me semble, toute personne dans le monde du sport qui se sent lésée, il y a des instances de par le Sports Act de 2016, des instances légales où ces personnes peuvent se référer. Je fais la référence au Ombudsperson for Sport, au Tribunal for Sports. Donc, si les personnes concernées, c'est-à-dire M. GJ, sent qu'il n'a pas été écouté ou que la fédération n'a pas pris les mesures qu'il soit, il peut toujours déposer une complainte à l'Ombudsperson. Merci.
The table has been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn: B 1399, B 1400, B 1402, B 1420, B 1421, B 1423, B 1427, B 1428, B 1429, B 1438. Next question. Thank you, team.
B 1396.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform the House that the National Pension Fund, NPF, is a pension scheme established in 1978 covering private sector employees in Mauritius. Contributions into the fund were being made by both employers and employees at the rate of 6% and 3% respectively. With regards to Part A, 1 of the question, I'm informed that as per the Actuarial Report 2017-2020, carried out by Riskoura Solutions Limited, the actual deficit of the NPF has increased from 55 billion for the period 2014 to 2017 to 116 billion as at August 2020, based on a 75-year projection. According to the report, the fund will continue to decrease. It is to be noted that the actual report for the period 2014-2017 also stated that, I quote, while there is no immediate danger of the scheme running short of funds, it is likely that in due course the assets which have been built up in the scheme to date will be entirely used up paying for pensions and other benefits. at which point the scheme will be insolvent and will be unable to pay out any further benefits in full as contribution income will be inadequate to meet the needs, end quote. With regards to part A2 of the question, the responsibility to secure the future value of the fund rests with the NPF-NSF Investment Committee, set up in accordance with Section 38(2) of the National Pensions Act. I'm informed, in line with its mandate, the NPF Investment Committee is investing in fixed income instruments. A copy of the report of the actuarial review for period 1st July 2017 to 31st August 2020 is being tabled.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Minister refers to the actuarial report. May I know from the Honourable Minister, by when will the NPF fund come into deficit and will require injection of capital?
Well, at the present moment, it is very difficult to say at what particular time the NPF building will be in deficit. What I can tell the House is that, as per the actual report, a projection of on a 75-year period has been made. So I'm taking what there are in the reports.
In answer to a PQ which I asked the Honourable Minister on the 7th of July 2020, the Honourable Minister stated that if ever there is a deficit in NPF fund, government would do the needful and take care of the deficit. So may I know from the Honourable Minister whether so far government have put any amount of money in the NPF to cover any deficit?
No, not at all, because the NPF stands at 145.2 billion as a date. So we are talking of actuarial deficit in the long term.
So then the Honourable Minister... No, it's okay.
Thank you. B1397. Thank you.
Monsieur le Président, afin de répondre à la question de l'honorable membre, permettez-moi de rappeler que Maurice a traversé la pire crise de son histoire en raison de la pandémie de la Covid-19 qui a immobilisé des secteurs entiers de notre économie, notamment le secteur manufacturier et touristique. Face au spectre des 100 000 chômeurs, ce gouvernement a déployé un arsenal de mesures historiques dans le but d'atténuer l'impact de la pandémie de la Covid-19 sur notre économie et donc notre population. Si nous n'avions pas agi avec courage et proactivité, une vague de faillites aurait eu lieu et des dizaines de milliers de familles mauriciennes se seraient retrouvées sans emploi, sans ressources et sans rien. Monsieur le Président, c'est dans ce contexte de grave crise que le Wage Assistance Scheme a été mis en place en 2020 afin, d'un commun accord avec les opérateurs, d'apporter un soutien financier aux employés du secteur du privé qui seraient retrouvés sinon au chômage. Le gouvernement a également mis en place le Self-Employed Assistance Scheme et a accordé une subvention mensuelle aux travailleurs indépendants afin de préserver les moyens de subsistance de ces derniers. Dans le cadre du Wage Assistance Scheme, avant janvier 2021, un travailleur percevant jusqu'à 50 000 roupies par mois recevait une allocation équivalente à son salaire de base plafonné à 25 000 roupies. Ces montants ont été augmentés de 375 roupies à partir de janvier 2021 pour tenir compte de la compensation salariale. Pendant les 2 périodes de confinement national, l'allocation au titre du Wage Assistance Scheme a été versée à tous les travailleurs éligibles. Après la levée partielle du confinement, nos frontières sont restées fermées aux touristes et les arrivées de touristes sont restées faibles par la suite. Par conséquent, le Wage Assistance Scheme a été maintenu pour les travailleurs du secteur du tourisme et les secteurs connexes pendant cette période. En outre, afin d'empêcher la résurgence et la propagation de la Covid-19, un certain nombre de locaux ont dû rester fermés au public, tandis que d'autres entreprises ont été autorisées à ouvrir sous réserve de restrictions sanitaires strictes. Certaines régions ont également été déclarées zones rouges et certaines activités d'attroupement ont été interdites. Ces entreprises ont continué à bénéficier du Wage Assistance Scheme. La MRA m'a informé que certaines entreprises ont retiré leur demande et ont volontairement remboursé en totalité ou en partie le montant précédemment perçu dans le cadre du programme. Monsieur le Président, en ce qui concerne le COVID-19 levy, il a été introduit dans l'Income Tax Act via la COVID-19 Miscellaneous Provision Act afin de récupérer une partie du montant de l'aide financière accordée dans le cadre du Wage Assistance Scheme auprès des entreprises qui ont réalisé des bénéfices. Selon la loi, le prélèvement était applicable aux entreprises pour 2 périodes comptables, 2020-2021 et 2021-2022, et devait entrer en vigueur en juillet 2020. Ce prélèvement est calculé comme étant soit le montant de l'aide salariale versée à un employeur au cours d'une année, soit 15% de son revenu annuel imposable, le montant le plus bas étant retenu. Le prélèvement n'est pas applicable aux entreprises qui n'ont pas réalisé de bénéfices imposables. Il convient de noter que pour alléger le fardeau des entreprises confrontées à des difficultés financières suite au Covid-19 et leur permettre d'honorer une compensation salariale de 500 roupies accordée pour l'année 2021 et de 1000 roupies accordées pour l'année 2022, les entreprises ont demandé d'annuler ce levy. Le gouvernement a alors décidé d'annuler toutes les dettes impayées au titre du COVID-19 levy au 20 janvier 2023. Cela afin de s'assurer que les centaines de milliers d'employés ne soient pas privés de compensation salariale. Monsieur le Président, en ce qui concerne la partie A de la question, la MRA m'a informé qu'un montant de 2,78 milliards de roupies a été perçu au titre du COVID-19 levy. En ce qui concerne la partie B de la question, le montant net déboursé dans le cadre du régime d'assistance salariale s'est élevé à 20,79 milliards de roupies et a été versé à 16 390 employeurs pour 279 857 employés. En ce qui concerne la partie B1, 2 et 3 de la question, les informations sont en train d'être compilées par la MRA et seront ensuite déposées. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you. I hope the Minister will table the document. Now, for at least 2 financial years, the employers, including the small and medium, the SMEs, and individual employers as well, have had to refund the levy. Does the Minister find it just and equitable that now hotels are making billions of profit and they have also benefited from the MIC fund, and now they are, as a result of the measure that has been announced in the budget, they are now being exempted to pay back the levy? Is this just and equitable?
Monsieur le Président, au moment où on avait annulé ce remboursement, on était dans la période de reprise. On n'était pas en 2023. Ce qu'on a écrit dans le budget 2023, ça a été une rectification par rapport à la décision qu'on a prise en 2022. C'est en 2022 qu'on a annulé ce levy. Ben oui, parce que les 2 années imposables sont 2021, 2022. Je l'ai dit, on a annulé par rapport à la compensation salariale qu'on était en train de donner. Décembre 2021, on accorde une compensation salariale de 500 roupies aux employés, malgré le contexte très difficile. On était à l'époque, souvenez-vous, 2021, on est toujours dans la période où on n'a pas encore ouvert complètement les frontières. On n'avait pas eu une reprise complète des activités économiques. En 2021, nous n'avons eu que 178 000 touristes. Pour vous dire, on était toujours dans ce contexte de reprise. Pour pouvoir accorder cette compensation, les entreprises, quand on avait fait la tripartite, nous ont demandé d'accorder un répit par rapport à la situation financière concernant le levy. Et nous avons fait notre travail interne et nous avons vu qu'il était préférable d'accorder les 500 roupies aux employés plutôt que de continuer à demander ce levy pour l'État. Donc, c'est à la suite de cela que le ministère des Finances a ajusté et a demandé qu'on retire ce levier et qu'on a passé ça au cabinet. Ce qui s'est passé dans le budget, je le dis, c'est simplement pour corriger cette annonce qu'on a mis dans le budget 2023-2024, parce que ça a été une décision qui a été prise en amont. Donc, pour revenir à la question de l'honorable membre concernant les profits que sont en train de réaliser tous les secteurs, nous avons des profits records. Cela veut dire que l'économie est en train de s'améliorer. Je le dis ici, en 2020, le PIB était autour de 440 milliards de roupies. En 2023, il devrait s'établir à 650 milliards de roupies. Je dis bien 210 milliards supplémentaires par rapport à 2020, parce que c'était une année de crise. Donc là, Monsieur le Président, nous sommes en train de travailler avec mon collègue du ministère du Travail pour revoir, par rapport à la profitabilité, qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire pour, encore une fois, améliorer le pouvoir d'achat de tous les travailleurs à Maurice.
Next question.
B1398, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Beaubassin-Rosil that it has not issued any demolition order for the atrium building situated at Rosil. The site of the atrium building has been acquired by the government, and same will be included in the proposed urban terminal project. The draft request for the proposed document for the project is under preparation, and it is envisaged that the option to either upgrade or demolish the atrium building will be left to the selected promoter. It's expected that the request for proposal will be launched in the near future.
Can I ask the Vice Prime Minister if investigation has been completed regarding the pulling down order? And if yes, what action has been envisaged as regard to the pulling down order?
As I've just mentioned, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have not decided about the pulling down of the atrium building. We are going to leave it to the promoter. If they find the building is okay, they can use it, they are going to use it. We are not going to they're not going to demolish it. If not, they are going to demolish it. And at that particular time, if the decision is taken, then we will consider about other
The question
issues.
has been sufficiently canvassed. Next question.
B1401. Thank you.
Minister Dinam?
Yes. Yes. Mr. Speaker, sir, in my reply to question B 237 on 18 April 2023, I informed the House that the Road Development Authority is currently undertaking the construction of the east-west connector, which comprises the following projects. Firstly, La Vigie-La Brasserie-Beauchamps Link Road Phase 1 is starting motorway M1 at La Vigie, crossing Phoenix Plaisance Road A10 at 16e Mille and ending La Marie Road B102. Second, La Vigie-La Brasserie-Beauchamps Link Road Phase 2 is starting La Marie Road B102, passing through Orietta, Hollywood and ending at Pierrefonds. The new road will link the Palma B2 and the Phoenix-Beauchamps Link Road B130. And third, the Ficanflac bypass is starting from Pierrefonds roundabout to end at Ficanflac, which is also considered as being the phase 3. I'm also informed the House that with a view to providing a complete solution to all commuters, my ministry is proposing to construct a flyover at La Vigie, which will be implemented concurrently with phase 2 and 3 of La Vigie-La Brasserie Link Road project. Mr. Speaker, sir, with the construction of phase 1 of the project, there will be a relief on the distribution of traffic between the west, central and southern region of the country, including Black River and motorway M1 and consequently the SSR International Airport. The scope of works in Italia comprises the construction of 6.5 kilometers single carriageway with a width of 7 meters, shoulders of flexible pavement of 1.5 meters on each side from La Vigie to La Marie, construction of box culverts and other drainage structures, as well as construction of a cycle lane. The Phase 1 project was awarded to General Construction Company Limited on the 31st December 2020 for the sum of 655.7 million rupees, inclusive of VAT, and works started on site on the 10th February 2021. I'm pleased to announce that the works will be completed by mid-November, that is in almost a week time, and the road will be operational by the beginning of December after receiving all necessary clearances from all authorities. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Phase 2 of the project, which is a continuation of the first phase, it consists of a single carriageway from La Marie over a length of 9.5 kilometers and includes the construction of 5 bridges, slope, stabilization works, and a cycle lane, among others. The project has been awarded to Beijing Construction Engineering Company Limited on the 15th September 2022 to the tune of 1.5 billion, inclusive of VAT. Works on site is started 31st October 2022 and are scheduled to be completed by the 30th October 2024. At present, the progress of work is 25%. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ficonflac bypass project, that is Phase 3, consists of a new link road of a length of 5.2 kilometers with a grade separated junction at Cascavel, a bridge of length of 72 meters across Rivière Rampart, and a cycle track. The objective of this part of the project, which is the continuation of Phase 1 and 2, is to increase the connectivity of Ficonflac with other regions of the island and to reduce traffic congestion during morning and afternoon peak on existing roads. The project has been awarded to Transinvest Construction Limited on the 11th of May 2023 for the sum of 1.2 billion, inclusive of VAT. The progress of work on site, which started on the 17th July 2023, is 10%. The works will be completed in phases as follows. Firstly, Segment 1, which includes the grade separated junction, construction of 2 roundabouts near Geoffroy Road B91 to connect Parlement Road B2, including a road of a length of 400 meters to Lake Ficonflac bypass and approximately 2.5 kilometers of road, which with all amenities is expected to be completed December 2024. Overall completion, which include the remaining 2.5 kilometers of road, a bridge of 72 meters, and a roundabout is scheduled to be completed in July 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards the construction of a flyover on motorway M1 La Vigie, it comprises the construction of a slip lane from motorway southbound to connect to the flyover with the provision of a cycle lane, among others. The project is expected to be awarded in the days to come, and the works should be for a duration of 14 months. Mr. Speaker, sir, upon the completion of all the 3 phases, it is expected that the journey from La Vigie to Ficonflac will be effected in around 20 minutes as compared to more than 1 hour, which is presently the case. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I am made to understand that there is an existing health track which Phase 1 will be going through, and from his answer, Honourable Minister also informed the House with regards to the cycle track which is going to be implemented. Can we have more information on these 2 new items to be implemented on this new road? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Montvert health track is over a distance of 2.2 kilometers, starting from forestry office at the 16e Mill and ends at Montvert Health Park and crosses the new La Vigie La Brasserie Bosson Link Road, and to allow safe movement of pedestrians from one side to the other, a pedestrian footbridge has been constructed on that road. So, to reply to my honourable colleague, the health track is well preserved is existing, and it being on both sides of the road, because now the road crosses the road, the health truck, we have provided for an overhead bypass. And regarding the cycle lane, the road currently is the total stretch of the road will be 21.2 kilometers, and the cycle track will be 18.5 kilometers. So my honorable colleague might be curious to know why this discrepancy. Because there is an existing bit of 2 kilometers of cycle track, which is another existing health track, which we are keeping currently, and then it merges with the current cycle track. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Speaker. Can Honourable Minister also inform the House how the coming into operation of this phase 1 is going to impact on the coming very soon of the Mahashivaratri festival and the pilgrimage to the Ganga Talao? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, you will agree that obviously this will be definitely a very convenient access towards Ganga Talao, and yes, in it being ready mid-November 2023, traffic can be diverted on this road, and I'll leave it to the competent authorities, the TRMSU, and eventually the task force to decide about the traffic arrangement during the forthcoming Mahashivratri. But obviously, this will be a definite soulagement à la population mauricienne, the very fact that they will get a direct link in and out from the motorway M1. Thank you.
Next question.
B1404.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
What is happening?
This matter should have been raised in cabinet and then transferred to the minister, to the appropriate minister.
No, Honorable Bulel. Honorable Bulel. Honorable Bulel, the transfer, I think you are referring to transfer of question. The transfer of question doesn't rest with the speaker or the table or opposition members, or the transfer of question rests with cabinet.
Yes.
Yes. We stop there. This is question time. No. You had your question. Who is the minister answering this question? Please. And you stop there. You answer the question.
Yes, a good question, Mr. Speaker, relating to silencers.
You don't know.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that from 1st July 2020 to 1st November 2023, 1,183 riders of auto motorcycles and 152 car drivers have been contravened in regard to loud noises emanating from modified silencers in breach of regulations 18.3.2 and 83.3 of the Road Traffic Construction and Use of Vehicles Regulations 2010, entailing 343 convictions. Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I am tabling the breakdown of those contraventions and convictions district-wise. Allow me to also inform that according to information obtained from the Ministry of Land Transport and Light Rail, the vehicle examination stations reported 3,282 cases involving auto motorcycles and 7,676 cases where cars could not be issued a fitness certificate due to modified silencers. Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 191 of the Road Traffic Act makes provision for fixed penalties for road traffic offences as specified under the fourth schedule, as amended to include, amongst others, fixed penalties for the following: exhaust silence system not in good and efficient order, altering silencer system, using a motor vehicle causing excessive noise, and using or causing or permitting to be used a motor vehicle not as per prescribed standard of noise emission. As I mentioned in my replies to B248 and B346 in July 2020 and April 2022, respectively, the need to abate the problem of noise from motorcycles emitting loud noises due to modified silencers was discussed at the Assises de l'Environnement held by my ministry in December 2019. The quantum of fixed penalties was subsequently increased by the Ministry of Land Transport and Light Rail to make the law more stringent against defaulters through the Road Traffic Amendment of Schedules Regulations 2020 as follows: exhaust silencer system not in good and efficient order from 1,000 rupees to 5,000 rupees, altering silencer system from 2,000 to 5,000 rupees, and using or causing or permitting to be used a motor vehicle not as per prescribed standard for noise emission from 2,000 rupees to 5,000 rupees. Moreover, the Environment Protection Control of Noise Regulations 2008 has been also revoked and replaced by the Environment Protection Control of Noise Regulations 2022, with effect from 1st October 2022. Accordingly, new provisions have been introduced at Regulation 6 to empower an authorized officer, including a police officer or the enforcing agency, being the Ministry of Health and Wellness, to issue a fixed penalty of 10,000 rupees where an offense specified in this second schedule is committed, that is, make or cause to be made noise which constitutes a noise nuisance. Any person served with a fixed penalty notice shall be liable to the payment of the fixed penalty within 21 days as from the date of the notice, failing which he shall be liable to pay a fine not less than thrice the fixed penalty upon conviction. Mr. Speaker, sir, I should highlight that in addition to crackdown operations carried out island-wide by the Police de l'Environnement in relation to noise pollution arising from vehicles, as a preventive measure, sensitization campaigns are also being conducted through community policing with support of neighborhood police.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. The issue of auto and motorcycle emitting loud noises has been debated in this House on several occasions by myself and other colleagues. But unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the state of affairs is almost the same in terms of nuisance and discomfort. Can I ask the Honourable Minister, at a point in time, it was the question of seizure of auto and motorcycle for recurrent offenders. Why this measure has not found its way into our law, into our regulations as of now?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. Upon query from the Commissioner of Police regarding seizure of motorcycle of vehicles emitting loud noise, the advice of the Attorney General's office was sought on the matter. I should say that with respect of seizure of motorcycle of vehicles emitting loud noise through modified silencers, the Attorney General's office advised that Section 81 of the EPA provides that where there is or has been a contravention of an environmental law, or there is a reasonable suspicion that a contravention of an environmental law has been or is likely to be committed, an authorized officer may, at any time, without warrant, secure any article, object, equipment, plant, machinery related to the contravention. Therefore, Section 81 of the EPA empowers an authorized officer to seize motorcycle or vehicles with inefficient silencers causing excessive noise. Valeur du jour. As of to date, no information is available as the Police de l'Environnement as regard to seize vehicles as at date. The reason is clear, Mr. Speaker, sir. is that seizure of vehicles may entail implications such as safe custody, civil liability in case of damage to seized vehicle, insurance coverage, need to take remedial actions to prevent continuity of the offense, amongst others. Therefore, to ensure proper enforcement, further consultations would need to be held with all stakeholders, including the Attorney General's Office. The Honourable should rest assured that we are working in collaboration with the police force and also with the ministry which is responsible for land transport to be able eventually to come forward with a proper legal framework for us to be able to proceed with seizure of vehicles in case of modified silencers.
I'm bringing the issue of seizure of vehicle, it's because for it to act as a deterrent. Because we are increasing our other fines, but the problem remains. So it should be in our law to act as a deterrent. Can I ask the Honourable Minister, apart from contraventions, operation crackdown to auto and motorcycle, has there been any checks in garages that do the modifications of silencers, and what does the law provide for such garages?
Mr. Speaker, sir, concerning inspection in workshop. So as per the Road Traffic Construction and Use of Vehicles Regulations 2010, no person shall fit on the exhaust pipe of a motor vehicle or extension or other device likely to cause excessive or unusual noise, or alter the silencer in such a way that the noise caused by the escape of the exhaust gases is made greater by the alteration. However, I should specify that when the vehicles are under repairs and under the care of a workshop, no breach of the Road Traffic Act and regulations can be established, as these vehicles are not found on a public road. So we need further consultations, Mr. Speaker.
Next question.
B 1405.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that since 2014 to date, a total of 122 semi-low-floor Yutong buses have been procured by the National Transport Corporation for a total amount of Mauritian rupees 465,653,450 rupees. VAT excluded. I'm tabling the information sought as to Part A, Part B, and Part C of the question. It is to be noted that for the acquisition of semi-low-floor diesel buses, the government provides a subsidies under the Bus Modernization Scheme. For instance, a semi-low-floor diesel bus whose length is above 9 meters is eligible to a subsidy allocation of 1 million rupees. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm also advised that the People's Republic of China had in the year 2016 and 2017 donated 48 semi-low-floor Yutong buses. In all, the NTC presently holds a fleet of 170 semi-low-floor buses of the make Yutong. As for Part D of the question, I'm tabling the maintenance and servicing cost of these buses. The maintenance and service costs also include repairs. Up to the year 2017, the NTC was outsourcing the maintenance repair for both Yutong and Nissan buses to ABC Motors and ABC Coach Works. It is to be noted that the cost of servicing and maintenance for the year 2015, 2016 and 2017 includes both Nissan and Yutong buses. From 2018 to October 2023, Yutong buses were being outsourced for maintenance and repairs to ABC Coach Works Limited. The NTC has informed that during the year 2023, ABC Coach Works was unable to perform repairs and maintenance on several Yutong buses. In view, therefore, of the Yutong buses were serviced in-house, and as from October 2023, the NTC has outsourced the in-house servicing and maintenance of some 30 Yutong buses to another local service provider, namely Iepan Dundas Company Limited.
Yes. Thank you. Can I ask the Honourable Minister, why is it that even though there were a lot of recruitment of mechanics even though this year it's about 25 to 30 mechanics has been recruited at the CNT. Equipment and tools have been purchased. The decision to have maintenance done in-house has been outsourced to another contractor, moving from ABC Motors to another contractor, thereby leading a lot of casualties among the buses. A lot of them remain at the garage, high percentage, disrupting services. And that is against the agreement of the union.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, I must inform the honourable member that besides the 170 Yutong buses, NTC has also to cater for about 340 other buses, Ashok Leyland, Nissan buses and so on, other make and other model. With regard to the recruitment, Mr. Speaker, sir, unfortunately the ratio, when we look at all the 5 depot, the ratio with regard to bus, the number of buses and number of mechanics is still, in some depot, is still low. And this is why the NTC has embarked on a project of recruiting right now mechanics to enhance its labor force. The decision to outsource to another contractor, Mr. Speaker, sir, is also because, as I just said, so many buses, unfortunately, were staying in the depot, either at ABC Coachworks Limited or in the different NTC depot. So that's why NTC decided to have recourse to this contractor.
In a letter dated 24th October 2023, reference servicing of Yutong buses, which I can give a copy to the minister for his own eyes, the staff have informed me that there were several accusations leveled against management.
That would be subject matter for a new question.
That's right?
I don't. Subject matter for a new question.
This is
not a supplementary question.
This is servicing of Yutong buses, which is a subject of my question.
It doesn't form part of the main question.
It does. That's your question. It does.
If you have any other question you put, or I won't.
This is my question. It is part of the question.
No. I have given my ruling. I don't have to give more explanation than that.
Even if your ruling is not correct?
No question for you. We move to the next question. MP David.
B1406. Mr. Speaker, sir, are the honourable members aware Mauritius Telecom is a private company operating in a competitive environment governed by the Companies Act and by its board of directors? The honourable member will therefore appreciate that it is not appropriate for me to give the details asked, as for these are commercial sensitive information.
Supplementary question?
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Il y a 3 semaines, Mauritius Telecom organisait une cérémonie à laquelle le ministre a participé et a annoncé publiquement qu'il doublait la vitesse de connexion Internet au même prix. C'est une information publique qui a circulé dans les médias. Puis-je demander au ministre la raison pour laquelle les clients du Social Internet Package à 10 Mbps, eux, n'ont bénéficié d'aucune augmentation de leur vitesse de connexion? Pourquoi cette discrimination envers celles et ceux qui sont en bas de l'échelle sociale et numérique?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the question is specific to a certain subject, that is the connection of internet household. The reference that the honourable member is making, that the SRM who are connected, is not exact as per the question put. I said that Mauritius Telecom is a private company, is governed by the Companies Act and the Board of Directors. Any question pertaining to commercially sensitive information, I cannot answer on those.
Let's move to the next question. MP Dulab.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, B1407.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Central Water Authority that the village of Mayberg is supplied with approximately 6,000 meter cube of water per day from Mont Désert Reservoir through an existing 225 millimeter asbestos cement and 150 millimeter cast iron gravity mains over a stretch of approximately 1 kilometer from Mayberg Museum up to Cavendish Bridge. Some 21 kilometers of laterals composed of mainly asbestos cement and cast iron pipes are connected to the gravity main and feed some 3,391 consumers. The existing cast iron and asbestos concrete network, which had been laid since more than 50 years, have outlived its lifespan. These pipes are subject to frequent pipe bursts, resulting in water supply disruptions and high levels of non-revenue water. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I have elaborated in my replies to previous PQs, the Central Water Authority has embarked on a national pipe replacement project across all the 6 water supply zones in order to replace some 500 kilometers of critically defective pipelines over a period of 3 years. The Central Water Authority has informed that the pipe replacement in the region of Mayberg will be implemented in 3 phases as follows. In the first phase, it is proposed to supply water through a new gravity main over some 1 kilometer from Mayberg Museum to Cavendish Bridge on both sides of the roads, that is a total of 2 kilometers, and renew some 3.3 kilometers of pipes within the most critical consumer area in the region of Cartier. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the second phase, approximately 8.7 kilometers of old and defective pipelines will be renewed in lateral roads, that is ranging from 63 to 160 millimeter HDPE pipes, and include the shifting of some 1,100 households. The project area under phase 2 is delimited by A, Rue de la Passe, Rue Marianne, Rue Saint-Martin, Rue du Bambou, and RDA Road A12, and B, RDA Road A12, Rue Marianne, Rue des Hollandais, et Rue Hangar. Phase 3 of the project will comprise the renewal of approximately 6.2 kilometers of old and defective pipelines in the remaining lateral roads, again ranging from 63 to 160 millimeter HDPE pipes in the region of Mayberg, and also the shifting of some 950 households. The project area under phase 3 is delimited by RDA Road A12, Rue du Hangar, Rue Sivananda, Rue Sir Abdul Razak Mohammed Street. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Central Water Authority that the contract for renewal of pipeline in the region of Mayberg, Phase 1, has been awarded to Southern Limited for an amount of rupees 62,479,847 and cents 10 only, exclusive of VAT on the 26th of October 2023. The duration of the contract is 8 months. Works are expected to start by the first week of December 2023, and the expected completion date is in August 2024. The scope of work for Phase 1 includes the following: A. Excavation and backfilling works. B. Laying of some 5.3 kilometers of HDPE pipe of diameter ranging from 63 millimeter to 250 millimeter. C. Connection works to existing CWA network. D. Construction of precast ring chambers. E. Supply and installation of marker posts. F. Installation of appurtenances. G. Construction of reinforced concrete chambers to accommodate appurtenances. H. House connection, reconnection works. And I. Temporary road reinstatement. Necessary action, Mr. Speaker, sir, has been initiated for the implementation of Phase 2 and Phase 3, which are expected to cost around 300 million rupees. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Considering that the stretch, as mentioned in his reply by the Minister, the stretch from Mayberg Museum to the newly renovated Cavendish Bridge is a very busy one, will the Minister request the CWA to have a community meeting with stakeholders and residents to apprise them of the works?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a good question. And I can tell the Honourable Member that the CWA, before starting works on the sites that I've mentioned, will carry out a PR exercise through its communication cell, and different stakeholders will be participating in that PR exercise.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Minister inform the House of measures being taken in view of the upcoming dry season for the region of Mayberg?
Yes, there are, Mr. Speaker, sir, several measures that are being taken all around the island to face the dry season. But in Mayberg, I can tell the House, mostly in the region of Plaine Maillan, that is Solitude and Dahlia regions, I understand that there will be the commissioning of a borehole at La Grotte in the region of Plaine Maillan with some 700 meters of pipe laying. There is also the drilling of a duplicate borehole under the new framework contract that is within the region of AML, and presently some 4,000 meter cube is being extracted, and we will have with those two boreholes an incremental, an additional volume of some 2,400 meter cube of water per day. With regard to Mayberg, I understand that there is in the contingency plan the replacement of some 5.4 kilometers of pipes, but unfortunately they had launched tenders, but there were no responsive bids that were received, and I understand that fresh bidding documents are under preparation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Next question.
B/1409, please. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I presume that the honourable member. Excuse me. Mr. Speaker, sir, I presume that the honourable member wishes to know whether Mercantile and Maritime Investment Limited has put in place a mechanism to prevent the lifting of mogas and gas oil from tankers on high sea, that is, during the trip of the tankers from the ports of embarkment to Port Louis. I am informed that the contract awarded by the State Trading Corporation is for the supply of white oil on a delivery at place basis, that is, delivery in Port-Louis. The term delivery at place is routinely used in international trade to describe an agreement wherein the seller bears the responsibility and cost of transporting the products, in this case, mogas and gas oil, to a place specified in the contract. Accordingly, the seller is liable for any potential losses of moving goods sold to a specific location. I am further informed by the STC that according to the conditions of award, the quantity and quality of each consignment of white oil is determined independently by accredited and internationally recognized surveyors, both at the loading port and at discharge port, to ensure that the same products loaded at the initial port are delivered in Port-Louis. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regards to Part B of the question, at the discharge port, that is, once the vessel has reached Port-Louis, the surveyor appointed by the STC boards the tanker vessel to calculate and verify the amount of products on board and to collect samples of the petroleum products prior to discharge in order to compare the quality with the sample taken at loading port. It is only when the products have passed quantity and quality checks that discharge operations are initiated. I am informed by the STC that, as per conditions of the contract agreement, in the event the petroleum products are not within the required parameters, the STC does not take delivery of the products. Additionally, after completion of discharge in Port-Louis, the STC's surveyor inspects the tanker to ensure that all the cargo tanks are empty, following which an empty tank certificate is issued by the surveyor and signed by the master or the chief officer of the tanker vessel. Furthermore, the surveyor carries out measurements of the tanks at the local oil companies to ensure delivery of the agreed amount and prepares a final survey report. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am further informed by the STC that it is only once the surveyor has submitted his final survey report to the STC that the latter effects the payment for the products to the supplier. Thank you.
Can I ask the Honourable Minister if she could apprise the House as to the port of loading or embarkment and the name of the shipping company which has been chartered by the Mercantile and Maritime Investment to carry the oil cargo?
Just 1 minute. Mr. Speaker, sir, as at date, the STC has received 5 consignments of white oil from its supplier under the present contract in line with the requirements of the STC. These 5 consignments were all accompanied by their certificates of origin attesting that the white oils originated from the following countries: the United Arab Emirates, the Bahrain, the Saudi Arabia, India, none of which are on the United Nations sanction list. And the first consignment was from the United Arab Emirates. The second one from, you asked for the name of the ships, that's it? The first one, the MT Velos Forza, from the United Arab Emirates. The second consignment, the MT Maestros from Bahrain, the UAE. The third consignment from the MT Hafnia Nanjing from the United Arab Emirates. The fourth one from MT Tom Singapore from India, and the fifth one from MT Queen of Doria, the United Arab Emirates.
Is the Honourable Minister aware that the CEO of that company is under investigation by the Department of Justice for breaching Western sanctions? I remember, of course, Mr. Murtaza Lakan.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I think that this question has nothing to do with. You said that question last week, but it didn't come. I do have all the answers.
Minister, we move to the next question.
B1410, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that with regard to the new market fair in Rosehill, a first meeting was held on the 11th of May 2023 at the level of my ministry with representatives of the relevant ministries and departments, namely Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning, Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Road Development Authority, Traffic Management and Road Safety Unit, Wastewater Management Authority, Central Water Authority, Central Electricity Board, and the Municipal Council of Beaubassin-Rosehill, amongst others. A technical committee was set up to look into the proposed project. During the technical committee, the possibility to explore the enlargement of Boundary Road was discussed, and a site visit was also conducted under the lead of the Minister of National Infrastructure and Community Development. It was decided that the Traffic Management and Road Safety Unit and Road Development Unit would work out on a proposed enlargement of the Boundary Road and submit a project request form. Mr. Speaker, sir, a coordination committee was held on the 19th of October 2023 at the level of my ministry with all the relevant stakeholders, wherein it was noted that clearance of some organization has been received. Subsequently, I personally chaired a meeting on the 23rd of October 2023 in the presence of the Honorable Minister of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity, and representatives from relevant stakeholders, and the following was noted. The Minister of Housing and Land Use Planning has already vested 2 plots of land out of the 6 plots identified for the project into my ministry on the 17th of October 2023, and the acquisition of the remaining 4 plots of land are at the notary level. The clearance from Central Water Authority, Central Electricity Board, Central Water Authority, Wastewater Management Authority, Mauritius Telecom, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness have been obtained and which are subject to some condition. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry has submitted a request to the Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development to set up a technical committee to look into the project holistically, and also to constitute a technical team to design and supervise the proposed construction of the new Rosehill Market and the high-rise car park project.
If I understand the reply made by the Honourable Minister, in a reply to a PQB 928, the Honourable Vice Prime Minister, you stated that the full report is expected from the technical team by the mid of July 2023. Can I ask the Honourable Vice Prime Minister why that delayed?
Mr. Speaker, sir, initially the project was limited, and we didn't have enough land. But now, as I've said, we are trying to get extra plot of land to make it a much more appropriate project. As I mentioned, we have already got 2 plots of land and 4 are at a notary level. That's why the project is taking a bit of time.
Mr. Speaker, sir, can I ask the Honourable Prime Minister to inform the House where matters stand concerning the protests made by nearby inhabitants on this project?
Well, As far as the protest is concerned, I'm sorry, because we are still working on it. A committee has been set up. They're working on it to look at it holistically. Okay, there may be some project, but we are trying to get all the stakeholders. We are trying, like, for example, Boundary Road, we're trying to enlarge it to make it a bit, the traffic, a bit easier. We are trying to find alternative route to help the traffic in these particular areas. I know we are going to get some problem. We are going to get problem because it's a major project. It's a new project. It's not the same market like it used to be. It's going to be a new project, bigger project. Obviously, there are going to be some problem. Okay, we are going to solve the problem as we go along.
Next question.
B 1411.
Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the mandates of my ministry is to empower women economically, socially, and politically for the attainment of gender equality. Women empowerment centers are used to hold different programs, activities, short-term courses offered by the National Women Council and the Home Economic section of my ministry, so as to benefit women from all walks of life. Moreover, the centers are used to hold information, education, and communication program on specific thematics, which relate mostly to the social, economic, and political empowerment of women. They are also used as venues by other institutions or organizations for activities falling under their purview and that relate to women's empowerment. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that the Bij Dombo Women Empowerment Center was temporarily closed in March 2020 due to the complete lockdown announced by the government after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. A drastic decline in the number of women attending the Bejitombo Women Empowerment Center was noted in the year before, that is 2019. Consequently, following the uplifting of all sanitary restrictions in July of 2022, courses that were being carried out at Bejitombo Women Empowerment Center were shifted to the nearby social welfare centers and community centers. In light of the interest shown for the different courses by women of the locality, and being given that there were no center for women in that region, my ministry took the decision to reopen the Bejitombo Women Empowerment Center to cater for the demands of the women. Since the 11th of September this year, sessions on Zumba and exercise to music are being dispensed thereat on a voluntary basis every Monday and Tuesday. The center is also presently being refurbished in terms of furniture, equipment, and outlook to provide a more conducive environment for women of all walks of life to come to the center and benefit from the various courses, programs, and other services. Thank you.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. La ministre pourrait-elle nous fournir des informations sur le nombre de centres pour femmes qui ont fermé depuis 2020, ainsi que les raisons...
This is a different question. You would agree with me?
Non,
don't lift your hand. I am ruling.
Okay.
We change question. We go to question by... Please. Be polite. Honorable Ramphal.
B1412.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that the Central Water Authority ensures delivery of water services through a network of some 5,300 kilometers of distribution pipelines which draw water from 105 service reservoirs. I am further informed that there has been a significant increase in the daily output within the distribution network over the years, with an average of 670,000 meter cube per day in 2015, which has risen to 875,000 meter cube per day at the end of June 2023 during the normal seasons. However, it is also important to acknowledge that there has been a growth in demand for water at an average annual rate of 2.3% over the past decade. Mr. Speaker, sir, With regards to Part A of the question, I am informed by the Central Water Authority that in 2014 it had produced 229,613,976 meter cube of water, of which 111,780,262 meter cube was sold to consumers. In 2022, the volume of water produced has increased to 319,533,897 meter cube, with 127,381,311 meter cube sold to consumers. The difference between production and sale, that is non-revenue water, is 51% and 60% respectively. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I explained in reply to PQB 1163 at our sitting of 29th November 2022, non-revenue water is calculated as the difference between sales and production. However, this figure is not accurate in view of defective meters, both production and at the level of consumers. Mr. Speaker, sir, with the assistance of the British High Commission, my ministry has enlisted the services of experts from the Climate Resilient Infrastructure Development Facility, who are currently carrying out a detailed assessment of non-revenue water in the water supply zone north and east initially. The project is expected to be completed by March 2024, and the same assessment will be replicated in the other zones. We expect to have more accurate figures after the completion of the detailed assessment of the Central Water Authority network. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the question, at our sitting of 29th November 2022, I had elaborated in my reply to PQB 1163 on the concept of water losses and the methodology adopted by the Central Water Authority to address same. Indeed, the issue of water losses is a significant challenge faced by water utilities worldwide. These losses, Mr. Speaker, sir, typically fall into three main categories. A, physical losses which occur due to leakages in the distribution system. Physical losses are primarily the result of infrastructure issues such as deteriorating pipelines, joint failures, or other system vulnerabilities that lead to water escaping from the network. B, commercial losses which result from theft or incorrectness in the billing process due to metering inaccuracies. These can also include unauthorized water connections, tempered meters, or billing errors that lead to revenue losses for the water utility. And C, non-revenue water is the difference between the amount of water being produced, injected into the distribution system, and the amount of water being billed to consumers. Non-revenue water encompasses both physical losses and commercial losses, and it represents the difference between the total water supply and the water that is billed to consumers. Addressing these challenges, particularly reducing non-revenue water, is a priority for water utilities to improve operational efficiency, conserve valuable resources, and ensure a sustainable and cost-effective water supply for communities. The Central Water Authority is addressing the issue of non-revenue water through different strategies, tackling physical as well as commercial losses. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I have mentioned in reply to previous speakers, the government has embarked on a national pipe replacement program across all water distribution zones for improved efficiency and water services. Thus, funds to the tune of 900 million rupees have been appropriated in budget 2023-2024 for such projects to be undertaken either in-house or by small and medium contractors based on a priority list of some 500 kilometers of old and defective pipe networks to be replaced. The budget also provides funding for major pipe replacement works in the amount of 824 million rupees. It is worthy to outline that during period 2015 to date, the CWA has completed some 61 projects with investment to the tune of 5.3 billion rupees, of which pipe replacement accounts for 3.5 billion rupees. Mr. Speaker, sir, other efforts are also being done concurrently with respect to the replacement of defective water meters, the setting up of a telemetry system, and the reinforcement of the non-revenue water unit at the Central Water Authority. Moreover, following the pilot non-revenue water project in the district metered area of Melrose Reservoir to Morcellement Sans Souci, the Central Water Authority has decided to replicate a similar exercise in the distribution network of Saint-Julien-d'Otmont. Pipes are being replaced there. In addition, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Agence Française de Développement will provide financial support to the water sector over the next 5 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is expected that the combined actions, as mentioned above, would bring a meaningful improvement to the non-revenue water and the efficiency of the water system. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
From what the Minister has said, basically the amount of non-revenue water has increased by 10% since 2014. Therefore, despite the investment of billions of rupees, and despite the operation of the Bagatelle Dam, will the Minister agree that his ministry has failed to address the problem of non-renewable water?
Not at all, Mr. Speaker, sir. First of all, the commissioning of the Bagatelle Dam doesn't have to do anything with decreasing non-revenue water. But I do acknowledge it has increased. And in my last reply, I did say to the House that the figures that we are getting with regard to the non-revenue water has been computed not in a very professional way, I should say. It is for this reason that we're trying to look at the problem on different fronts. That's why I said we are embarked in a major project for pipe replacement across the island, but at the same time, we are looking into other issues, for example, the replacement of meters, what we call district meters, where we can get reliable information. We are also looking into equipment which will help us for leakage detection. And we are also, Mr. Speaker, sir, looking into a telemetry system where we will be able to use information technology to have more and precise information about water being used in our network.
Time over. Some questions have been withdrawn. I will inform the House accordingly. Motion.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that all the business on today's order paper be accepted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Question that all business on today's order prepared business control provision 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Ayes have it. Statements by ministers.
Speaker, sir, I would like to make a statement following the matter raised by the second member for Portrush South and Portrush Central on the adjournment on 31st October 2023 with regard to the issue of desecration of several religious places. I have already requested the Commissioner of Police to look into the matter and also to reinforce presence and vigilance of the police on the ground and in the vicinity of religious places for the respect and preservation of religious places. I am informed that necessary actions have been taken by the police, which are inter alia, conducting foot and mobile patrols in police divisions, including near places of worship, making optimum use of safe city cameras for surveillance and monitoring the movements of suspicious characters, gathering information on persons likely to cause disturbances or commit illegal activities that may impact on social harmony, sensitizing heads of religious bodies on the importance of social harmony, and also encouraging them to report any matter which is likely to disrupt the peace and serenity of the community, and carrying out cyber patrols on social media platforms for the purpose of identifying comments which are likely to stir racial hatred or raise disaffection among the citizens. I am further informed that some images which have been circulating in the social media recently relate to past occurrences. However, a few cases reported recently to the police is under investigation. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to reiterate to the House and to the population at large my commitment to preserve harmony, peace, and security in the country. I will not tolerate any action aimed at disrupting our social fabric, be it on religious or any other ground. This is of utmost importance for maintaining social harmony and stability in the country, without which socio-economic development cannot be sustained. I have therefore requested the Commissioner of Police to deal severely with all those who attempt to threaten the prevailing harmony in our society, and we are following the matter very closely. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I have two statements to make. The first one concerning the situation in Nepal following the earthquake, and the second one concerning the case of Nankumar Buddha and others versus Prime Minister of Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to make a statement on the situation in Nepal following the devastating earthquakes. A 6.4 magnitude earthquake struck Nepal during the night of Friday, 3rd November 2023, with the epicenter at Barikot, rural municipality of Jarkot, situated 500 kilometers west of Kathmandu, causing the loss of lives and physical damages in the districts of Barikot and West Rukom. According to information gathered, as at 6 November 2023, the number of deaths stood at 157 and the injured 375. Initial assessments indicate that thousands of buildings and houses were damaged, exposing about 1.3 million people, while 250,000 people may be in need of humanitarian assistance. Days after this tragic event, Nepal was hit by another strong earthquake with magnitude 5.6 yesterday. The epicenter of the quake was located 233 kilometers north of Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh. This event caused panic among residents in Delhi and the national capital region. In response to the earthquake, the largest to impact Nepal since the 7.8 magnitude earthquake in 2015, The UN agencies in Nepal and neighboring countries are assisting the Nepalese authorities in the remote and mountainous districts in the western part of the country. Government of Mauritius has conveyed its deepest condolences and sympathies to the Nepalese authorities and to all those who have been afflicted by this tragedy. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry has been in contact with our High Commission in New Delhi and our honorary consul in Nepal, and they have informed that all the Mauritian citizens in Nepal are safe. The second statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, concerns the matter of Nankumar Buddha and two others versus Prime Minister of Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, an ex parte application for leave to apply for judicial review was made by Nankumar Buddha, Mainanda Rajaratnam, and Veer Abhimanyu Trilochan, called the appellants, before the Supreme Court of Mauritius on 16 June 2023, against the decision of the Honorable Prime Minister to advise the President to further extend the life of the Municipal City Council and Municipal Town Council by 2 years, with effect from 13 June 2023. By way of order dated 16 June 2023, the Honorable Chief Justice declined to grant the order prayed for on an ex parte basis and ordered that a summons be issued calling upon the respondent to be and appear on Monday 26 June 2023 at 10 a.m., date on which the matter would be mentioned before the Honorable Chief Justice. On 22nd June 2023, the appellants made a similar ex parte application before the Court of Civil Appeal on the basis of Section 6 of the Court of Civil Appeal Act. In that similar ex parte application, the appellants prayed for the following orders. A, for an order granting the appellants leave to apply for judicial review against the decision of the respondent to advise the President to further extend the life of the Municipal City Council and Municipal Town Councils by 2 years with effect from 13 June 2023. B, in the event leave for judicial review is granted, 1, for a procedural order setting out the calendar for the matter to be heard by the Supreme Court within a delay of 3 months as a matter of urgency. 2, for a mandatory order ordering the respondent to advise the President of the Republic of Mauritius to issue writs of election within 60 days of the present court order, in line with Section 11 of the Local Government Act, and the said elections to take place according to law. 3, for a declaration that the advice given to the President to further extend the life of the Municipal City Council and Municipal Town Councils is against the rule of law and or unlawful and or procedurally improper and or irrational and or arbitrary and or unfair and or made without purpose and or unreasonable in the Wensbury sense, thus void of all intents and purposes. 4th, an order declaring that the respondent has broken his oath of allegiance taken by him before acceding to the position of Prime Minister. On 26 June 2026, the appellants withdrew the first application before the Supreme Court because they had lodged a similar ex parte application before the Court of Civil Appeal. On 27 June 2023, this similar ex parte application lodged before the Court of Civil Appeal was set aside by the court. The order reads as follows, I quote, "We have taken cognizance of the applicant's ex parte application under Section 6 of the Court of Civil Appeal Act for an order granting to the applicants leave to apply for judicial review against the decision of the respondent to advise the President to further extend the life of the Municipal City Council and Municipal Town Councils by 2 years with effect from 13 June 2023. We are of the considered view that the application raises complex issues of laws and some other intricacy which may affect the grant of leave to proceed to a judicial review, and accordingly it is a fit and proper case for the respondent to be served with the motion paper and the affidavit. We hold that the decision of the Honorable Chief Justice on 16 June 2023 declining to grant the orders prayed for on a similar application made on an ex parte basis was correct. The present ex parte application is set aside." End of quote. Mr. Speaker, sir, the appellants sought permission directly from the Judicial Committee to appeal to it under Section 81(1)(a), 2 and 5 of the Constitution. Leave to appeal to the Judicial Committee was resisted by the respondent, on whose behalf a notice of objection was duly filed. On 31st October 2023, the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council ordered that, I quote, permission to appeal be refused on the grounds that, 1, an appeal does not lie as of right, as there is no final decision on a question as to the interpretation of the Constitution, and 2, special leave to appeal is not granted as the appeal does not raise an arguable point in law, end of quote. The Judicial Committee has also ordered as follows, and I quote, subject to any submissions to be filed within 21 days of the date of this order, the appellants pay the respondents' costs. The amount of those costs be assessed if not agreed, end of quote. Mr. Speaker, sir, my office has instructed our solicitors in the United Kingdom that the respondent will claim and make submissions for costs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Resumption. Order. Order. Let me do my work. Let me do my work. Questions PQB 1415, B 1422, B 1424, B 1426, B 1435, B 1439 were withdrawn during question time.
Public Bill, second reading.
Resumption of debate.
Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to say a few words on this important piece of legislation. The fisheries sector and fishermen as an important segment of our population, Mr. Speaker, sir, have always been very close to my heart. In fact, I remember having participated in the debate in 2010 when the Fishermen Welfare Fund Act was adopted by this House, and also in 2007 when the Fisheries and Marine Resources Bill was also voted in this same House, Mr. Speaker. And I remember in 2010, during my address to the House, my intervention, I raised the case of the poor situation in which the fishermen were living, the difficulties of this particular profession. And I said the following, Mr. Speaker, sir, we hardly know of any rich fishermen. Now just imagine somebody at the age of 60, 65 or 70 years old who has spent all his lifetime fishing, and who is so old now that he can't go anymore so as to feed himself and his family. I think one of the priorities of this fund should be to reflect upon the possibility or the advisability of setting up a pension scheme for these fishermen. Mr. Speaker, sir, this would also encourage the young generation to embrace this profession. I will stop here, but 23 years ago, Mr. Speaker, sir, I proposed to this House to set up a pension scheme to contribute to the welfare of this, as I said, important segment of our population. Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill is an innovative legislation, setting a new framework for the fisheries sector, which represents almost 1/5 of our export earnings, responsible for 10,000 direct and 12,000 indirect employments. This sector is a growing pillar of our economy, and the proposed bill contains the roadmap for its transformation and continued growth. But I must say I was disheartened to listen to a few members of the opposition, Mr. Speaker, sir. Probably they have been destabilized by this, the content of this bill, the seriousness with which this the government and the Honourable Minister have shown with respect to proposing such a bill to the House. When I listened to the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Speaker, sir, I could not refrain from underlining the inherent contradictions in his statement. On the one hand, he was describing, and I'm quoting from his speech, the Fisheries Bill as a very, very important bill for a very, very important sector. And after some time, he stated, I quote, "This is the sort of ridiculous bill that is being proposed today. This is the sort of ridiculous stuff," end of quote. He expressed his feeling, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this bill emanates from an inspection visit by the EU DG Mare in September 2022, insisting that the EU has threatened us with a carton jaune if this bill is not passed quickly. While on this chapter, I would like to remind the Honourable Leader of the Opposition that Mauritius and the EU have been involved in a series of succeeding fishing agreements since 1989, and these opened the way for a dialogue process on the fishing rights, sustainability of the fish stocks, and financial packages. So this is a normal process, Mr. Speaker, sir, which the EU has been holding and still holds with its own members and with international partners. From time to time, Mr. Speaker, sir, we even see fishermen protesting against the EU in member countries. But that does not mean a carton jaune, a carton rouge for the EU or for the fishermen. The Leader of the Opposition also said, Mr. Speaker, sir, this law is totally unacceptable. It is a blank check. It is a blank check for abuse. Yes, I'm not afraid to say it is a blank check for corruption. It is a blank check for nepotism. End of quote. As he perceives that the EU is behind the bill, does it mean, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the EU is corrupting Mauritius, the state of Mauritius, or is the EU corrupting our fishermen or the EU fishing operators? The EU I'm sure that the EU and the fishermen will have taken good note of the comments of the Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would invite the opposition to align their arguments. Because on the one hand, the Leader of the Opposition was saying that this bill includes disproportionate fines, while his colleague, Honourable Boulel, Dr. Boulel from the same constituency, is applauding the fines, as I will highlight in a few instances. In his statement, the first member for Belrose and Cateauborn stated the following, I quote, "To turn a SIDS into an ocean state, but to do so we have to make sure that there is proper monitoring, surveillance and control of our EEZ." End of quote. I would invite him to go through the different propositions of the bill, and he will find out that this is in fact the very purpose of the Fisheries Bill. And according to the member, the Fisheries Bill is being rushed through after the European community has threatened us with a yellow card over inadequate safeguard in our legislation to wage war on illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing, amongst other issues. Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, this honourable member has held the portfolio of agriculture for a number of years. He has had to deal with the phasing of the sugar protocol with the European Union. How would he qualify his consultations that he had with the EU at the time? Was he threatened by the EU in pressing for the reform of the sugar sector, Mr. Speaker, sir? The honourable member further stated that the regime has not even levelled up to meet international standards on responsible fishing. Sir, it goes without saying that the international context of fishing has evolved since the previous legislation. It is a legitimate objective to always catch up with new initiatives for responsible fishing. The honourable member should instead congratulate the Honourable Minister Modu for his laudable initiative to introduce this bill after extensive consultations with local and international stakeholders. I would like to remind the member that the EU has been a privileged partner since our independence in 1968, opening its market for our sugar and textile without any tariffs. Sir, the honourable member for Belrose Cateauborn also stated that the regime has failed to implement the IUU regulations to identify the origin of the catch and has not even levelled up to meet international standards on responsible fishing. He also alleged that the Directorate Mare has taken over and prepared this bill, adding, I quote, "This is tantamount to relinquish our sovereign rights to the dictate of the European Commission. And I will comment on it as I go along," end of quote. Mr. Speaker, sir, how does such an honourable member How dares he make such unfounded accusations against this government, talking about relinquishing our sovereign rights, when this government has brought back the Chagos Archipelago in our fold after a heroic struggle at the United Nations and at the International Court of Justice. The international community, as we know, Mr. Speaker, sir, was taken by the audacity of our government and our Prime Minister. And a time will come when we will reap the fruits of what this government under the leadership of the Prime Minister have sown for the benefit of the population with regard to our struggles for the Chagos Archipelago. I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, sir, that unlike the leader of the opposition, the honourable member of Belrose and Quatre-Bornes is happy with the provisions in the legislation in respect of penalties and that they are high, and I hope they will act as deterrent. We were reassured by the Prime Minister that the recommendation, Mr. Speaker, sir, made by Justice Lam San Ling in the findings of the Commission of Inquiry would be implemented. Sir, I cannot but express my agreement with the honourable member of Belrose and Quatre-Bornes when he says that Mauritius is a fully independent state and see to it that fishing is done in a sustainable manner and that there is responsible fishing to benefit all the stakeholders, as this is the very purpose of this bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, to conclude on the contradictions of the opposition with regard to the fisheries bill, I think after delivering their respective speech, I think that they have been self-inflicting carton rouge and carton jaune upon themselves. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would also commend the Honourable Minister for coming up with this comprehensive piece of legislation. Allow me to recall, Mr. Speaker, sir, that in my previous capacity as Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and IT, I had been called on many instances to work closely with my esteemed colleague. And I can assure the House that the Fisheries Bill in its current form and substance is a result of constructive consultations with both local and foreign stakeholders. Indeed, I recall our numerous meetings with Ambassador Vincent Deger, then representative of the EU, for the past 2 years, and our encounter with Mrs. Charlina Vicheva, the Director General of the DG Maritime Affairs and Fisheries of the EU, in May 2022, with a view to consolidating the Mauritius-EU partnership in the field of fisheries. Mr. Speaker, sir, what is the raison d'être of this proposed fisheries bill? It marks a crucial milestone in our nation's commitment to the sustainable development of the blue economy sector, fisheries management, conservation of marine resources, and the livelihoods of those who depend on our coastal waters and ocean for their well-being. Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill has been crafted with a keen focus on balancing the complex needs of our fishermen, our coastal communities, of the environment, and the larger economy. The bill is a theme of prime significance, especially for a small island developing state like us. I would like to particularly focus on its international obligations, good governance, and the vital aspects of conservation and management measures that the bill contains. Sir, in a world marked by the depletion of natural resources at an alarming rate, it is imperative that we recognize our international obligations, embrace conservation, and implement effective management measures to safeguard our fisheries resources for the generations to come. The global fisheries industry plays a critical role in sustaining both our economy and, to a broader extent, the planet. And it is imperative that we recognize our responsibilities and obligations on the international front. Indeed, the FAO estimates that the livelihood of 600 million people depend at least partially on fisheries and aquaculture. The bill represents a comprehensive framework for the sustainable management and conservation of our aquatic resources. It underscores our commitment to fulfilling our international obligations, and these obligations stem from various treaties, from various agreements and conventions, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, the UNCLOS, the Agreement on Port-State Measures to Prevent, Deter and Eliminate IUU fishing, and our membership to the Regional Fisheries Management Organization, such as the IOTC, the Indian Ocean Tuna Commission, and the Southern Indian Ocean Fisheries Agreement, the SIOFA. These international agreements set the base for concerted efforts to ensure the responsible utilization of our oceans as they are going through a triple crisis through the impact of climate change, affecting their capacity to absorb greenhouse emissions, biodiversity losses, and particularly plastic pollution. Conservation lies at the heart of any sustainable fisheries development strategy, and this bill recognizes the need to strike the right balance between harvesting the bounties of the sea and preserving them for future generations. So we should understand that overfishing not only depletes fish stocks, but it also disrupts the balance of marine ecosystem. By implementing conservation measures such as size and catch limits, effort limitation, fishing capacity, quotas, seasonal closures, and protected areas, we can allow fish populations to replenish and ecosystems to recover. Moreover, promoting responsible fishing practices such as selective fishing gear and reducing bycatch can significantly minimize the impact of non-target species. Overcapacity, overfishing, bycatch, and habitat destruction are global issues that threaten the very foundation of the fisheries industry. And this bill employs a range of measures to address these challenges, Mr. Speaker, sir. Science-based management, quota systems, marine protected areas, reducing bycatch, combating IUU fishing, engaging with international bodies, all these constitute these measures. This bill provides for conservation and management measures to ensure sustainable management of fisheries and aquaculture and implement obligations and standards in line with international agreements and commitments of Mauritius. Conservation and management measures shall be enforced through effective monitoring, control, and surveillance. The precautionary approach will be applied to the management and development of all fisheries resources. Sir, blue economy is a future pillar of the Mauritian economy, and it is crucial to provide appropriate incentive to attract local and foreign investors to invest in the sustainable development of the fisheries sector. And this bill precisely provides management measures for all fishing operators, either local or foreign, who should comply and fulfill all international obligations concerning conservation and management measures adopted by the regional fisheries management organization to which Mauritius is a party. This bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, embodies our commitment to these measures and principles, ensuring that we meet our international obligations to conserve and manage our marine resources responsibly. The sustainable management of fisheries is not just a matter of economics, but it is also a moral obligation to protect the environment and ensure food security for present and future generations. The bill, with its international obligations and conservation and management measures, paves the way, in fact, towards a more sustainable, responsible, and prosperous future of our fisheries industry. It reflects the dedication of this government to safeguard the oceans and marine life, while maintaining the livelihoods of those who depend on fishing. Mr. Speaker, sir, we should also pay special attention to a crucial aspect of this bill, the introduction of the new elements focused on combating IUU fishing. These provisions represent a significant step towards our ongoing efforts to protect marine resources, foster sustainable fisheries, and uphold our international commitments. IUU, Mr. Speaker, sir, is a global maritime security threat for the health of our oceans and the livelihoods of countless people who depend on them. It deprives genuine fishers of their rightful catch, undermines conservation efforts, and poses serious economic and environmental challenges. It jeopardizes food and economic security, resulting in global losses in the tens of billions of dollars each year, and has destabilizing effect on vulnerable coastal states and SIDS like Mauritius. It also undermines port and maritime security, as criminal elements may use similar routes, trade routes, landing sites, and vessels for trafficking arms, migrants, and drugs. As a responsible stewards of our economic system, sir, it is imperative that we promptly address this critical issue. And one of the key elements of the bill addresses precisely enforcement measures to combat IUU fishing, and this includes strengthening penalties for those involved in illegal fishing activities and enhancing the capabilities of the authorities to detect, investigate, and prosecute offenders. We should make it clear that the IUU fishing will not be tolerated in our EEZ, and the consequences for those who engage in these illicit practices will be dire. Mr. Speaker, sir, this new bill seeks to combat IUU fishing and ensure a sustainable fishing in the EEZ of Mauritius through the use of strengthened monitoring, control, and surveillance system, with particular emphasis on port-state measures based on FAO model scheme and supported by a VMS which has been set up since 2005 and is fully operational. A fisheries monitoring center also, which will be responsible for the monitoring of the VMS, the electronic reporting system, and the automatic identification system, have also been provided in the bill, Mr. Speaker, sir. Provisions have been made in the bill to prevent transactions such as the import, lending, and transshipment of species which are under the mandate of the relevant regional fisheries management organization and have been caught or carried by a fishing vessel that is listed on the IUU vessel list. Provisions have been made to prevent IUU fishing by controlling transshipment activities without a valid and applicable authorization in areas beyond national jurisdiction. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Fisheries and Marine Resources Act 2007 catered for a maximum fine of $1 million for activities relating to IUU fishing. But in this bill, a maximum fine of 100 million rupees has been imposed for all offences regarding the IUU fishing. The level of fines has been increased to discourage that type of fishing in our waters. Sir, much has been said by the opposition with regard to observers. But to be in line, we should know that to be in line with Resolution 2004 and the IOTC Regional Observer Scheme, the Fisheries Bill makes provision for the appointment of observers on board fishing vessels for the purpose of observing, collecting, recording, and reporting reliable and accurate information and data for scientific monitoring, management, and compliance purposes. Mr. Speaker, sir, the existing Act of 2007 does not also make provision to keep updated records of fishing vessels listed as IUU vessels on the list maintained by the relevant regional fisheries management organization, such as the IOTC, the CAMLA, the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tuna, the Western and Central Pacific Commission, and the Southern Indian Ocean Fisheries Agreement, amongst others. This shortcoming is now being plugged and addressed in the new bill, which makes provision to prevent activities carried out by IUU-listed fishing vessels. Provisions is also being made, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this ministry to enter into fisheries access. Moreover, international cooperation is essential in the fight against IUU fishing, and the bill encourages collaboration with other nations, with other management organizations, international agencies to share information, intelligence, and best practices. In strengthening these partnerships will enable us to tackle this global problem effectively. More importantly, Mr. Speaker, sir, public awareness and engagement should also be an integral part of the bill's strategy. By educating and involving local communities, our fishers and stakeholders, we can create a network of individuals and groups who actively support efforts to combat IUU fishing. These communities are often on the front lines and can serve as valuable allies in our fight against illegal fishing. Sir, the introduction of all these new elements aimed at addressing IUU fishing in this bill is indeed a laudable initiative towards protecting our marine resources. We must all support and strengthen these provisions, for they hold the key to the conservation of our oceans and the long-term sustainability of our fisheries. So with regard to new licensing requirements of fishing vessels, here also the introduction of new elements in the bill related to the licensing and registration of fishing and fish-related vessels represent a fundamental shift in our approach to fisheries management and have the potential to enhance accountability, conservation efforts, the fight against IUU fishing, and the sustainability of our fisheries. one of the key and fundamental elements, in fact, the pivotal element of this bill pertains, Mr. Speaker, sir, to the establishment of this robust licensing and registration system. This includes clear criteria and standards for obtaining licenses, renewal processes, and a requirement for vessels to be registered in Mauritius. Furthermore, the bill introduces the use of modern technology and data management system to improve the efficiency of licensing and registration process. So, as we know, under the current legislation, fishing vessels above 24 meters and made of steel hull are registered under the Merchant and Shipping Act. The new bill comes up with a series of new measures to enhance this process. All fishing and related vessels, irrespective of the length of the vessel, will now be registered by the supervising officer of the Ministry of Blue Economy, Marine Resources, Fisheries and Shipping. A series of measures follow, Mr. Speaker, sir. The MOU to be entered between the Director of Shipping, the streamlining of procedures, all the administrative, technical and social matters under Article 94 of the Law of the Sea and international standards for registration of fishing vessels. Upon approval by the Director of Shipping and the Registrar, the supervising officer of the Ministry will sign the certificate of registration. And the bill also makes provision for the supervising officer of the Ministry to suspend or cancel a registration. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to licensing of fishing vessels, the bill also outlines the procedures for granting license to Mauritius fishing vessels, foreign vessels, and joint venture vessels. Finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, I will end up by I do not intend to dwell lengthily, but I'll just say a few words, Mr. Speaker, sir. Just one paragraph on another essential component of this bill, which introduces new elements to fish farming and aquaculture, which in fact represent a significant shift in our approach to fisheries management, and which have the potential to contribute not only to the sustainability of our fish stock, but also to the economic growth and food security of our nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, also, which means that agriculture has the potential to boost our rural economies, create jobs, provide alternative means of livelihood, and strengthen food security. Just because this bill is the introduction of these new elements related to fish farming and aquaculture in the Fisheries Bill is a forward-looking and proactive step. It acknowledges the importance of aquaculture in ensuring a stable seafood supply, relieving the pressures on wild fisheries, and supporting the economic growth of our nation. Mr. Speaker, I must end up, unfortunately, by saying that this bill is a masterpiece legislation. En vérité, Monsieur le Président, concernant un sujet aussi complexe et avec autant de ramifications, l'honorable ministre a réfléchi à tout quand nous parcourons ce projet de loi, Monsieur le Président. Si l'opposition est honnête et objective, elle doit s'y souscrire à ce que je dis, Monsieur le Président. Ce projet de loi est élaboré, est articulate, comprehensive, all-encompassing, avant-gardiste. C'est un vrai pas de géant que la République de Maurice franchit en adoptant ce Fisheries Bill, Monsieur le Président. Bravo encore une fois au ministre et je vous remercie.
Members are suspend the sitting for 30 minutes.